Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. This is Psychic Medium Raymond Guzman, and as always, I am bringing you new content. You have requested it, and I am now doing it. I am doing a psychic reading on Post Malone. Now, a lot of you have been wondering what is around Post Malone. A lot of you may not know he is a rapper, songwriter, performer. He's an artist, and he, has sold millions of records worldwide, has done many collaborations. That is his background. He is well liked by many, and he has definitely a lot of fans. But what a lot of you may not know, he actually was in contact with Zach Bagans and the Dybbuk box. Supposedly, after he touched it or whatever happened, there was a stream of events, and that's what I want to talk about that has happened to him. That's public knowledge. I'm not saying anything new with this little backstory that I'm giving before I get into the actual insight. He did suffer, the plane malfunctioned, is my understanding, but he came out of that, okay. His house was broken into and robbed, I believe. That's public out there. And then his relationship, if he's had problems with that. So that's what we know so far. I think a lot of people that are listening to this today are going to be asking themselves, was he cursed by this Jewish or whatever origin this Dybbuk box is? Because a lot of people that have watched Ghost Adventures or have watched like The Haunting or A Haunting, there has been a lot of talk about this box that if you open it up, it's like opening up Pandora's box, but you're unleashing a demonic force. And people who have owned this Dybbuk box have sold it to other people because apparently they've fallen sick with actual health problems. They have been some have died. I guess a lot of people feel like this thing unleashes a curse. So I'm here to give you the tea from Spirit, what I actually see for Post Malone. Post Malone himself, when I tune into him, you can see in his eyes he has a very gentle, tender soul. He is a good person. Okay, he's a good person. However, he does have some type of spiritual attachment around himself, and I see that it is feeding and draining his life force or energy. And I feel like he does have darker dreams. He does see shadows. He may not publicly talk about this, but I see it. He is very handsome, obviously, very attractive. He's that person that people would love to have as a friend, women would love to have as a boyfriend, etc. The thing here is that I see a lot of vulnerability with this attachment, and I feel like things are not going to work out the way that he may have envisioned. Even though he may have millions of dollars in the bank account, that's where I see like a lot of struggles over the next couple of years with him, among other things that I'm going to get into. The first thing that I am seeing with Post Malone is that it's almost like he is running in a stream of bad luck, and if he can't see it now, I feel like there is something that he's going to need to do, like visit someone that is specifically deals in with hoodoo or voodoo, someone that is a practitioner in the spiritual arts, to remove this entity that is attached to him and is basically haunting him. I see like a lot unraveling in the next 2 years, and it's not necessarily good. I see like stagnation in his career, perhaps things not moving forward progressively. Yes, he may release music, but I feel like there's this emptiness inside that he is already feeling, almost like he's being used by the industry in some kind of way to make records, make music. So the passion is kind of mixed there. I also feel like he's very impatient about something. It's like he's waiting for something to occur, like the next biggest album break, or the next biggest collaboration. But plans seem to be falling through when I tune into his soul, because I'm not an energy reader only. I read at the soul level, and this is what I'm seeing. I feel like, he's very gregarious with his friends. He's very loyal to a fault, because I don't feel like the people that are around him are as loyal to him as he is to them. I feel like, he's a prankster. He just loves to, have a good time and be very chilled. The thing is, that thing has followed him. Whatever he touched or came in contact with Zach Bagans and that Dybbuk box, it did release something that is still around him and in his home that he has. I keep feeling like there's something about having to be careful, because when it comes to business dealings, there are people that don't have his best interests at hand. And so I see legal issues that are going to continue to kind of come to the forefront over the next 2 to 3 years with Post Malone. These are going to be the result of corrupt people in the industry trying to get a bigger chunk than what they're supposed to. I also feel like there may be something along the lines with a creative idea, and maybe like a former former staff member, I should say, that's the word I'm looking for, who comes forward with some kind of accusation against Post Malone. So him, signing non-disclosure agreements is going to be something that he should look into if he hasn't already, or his team, to protect himself, because I feel like, again, he's very trustworthy of people that he feels like have good energy and etc. But I feel like there's like a veil blocking him from seeing the actuality of the situation and the gravity of it, because I keep seeing that. Now I see him looking towards love, and this is more of where his vulnerability lies, is in his love life. I do see a relationship. So if he's not, I say within the next 6 to 8 months, we will see a little bit more of this. If he's not already dating someone, there is true love on the horizon for him, and he's ready for it. I feel like he's ready to tie the knot, really. Like, when I do readings for people, if I don't see it, I'm certainly going to say it, that I don't see that they're ready. With him, he is ready. I feel like that's the connection to changing his lifestyle in some kind of ways, because apart from everything else that I'm seeing with him, like I said, he's a very sweet guy, very just great person. I don't have anything bad to say about him as a person. I feel like he's very sweet. The only thing that I'm concerned about is that, substances and things like that can kind of creep in and change him, and his moods can change very easily due to this entity thing that manifests as a shadow figure, very tall. It's not a shadow man, it is an entity. Some would call it perhaps like a demon, and I feel like it is going to wreak havoc in his life if it hasn't already. People that would be in his home would be having nightmares. They would be having like panic attacks. I feel like phones would freeze up or malfunction in his home. There may even be some dead animals on the property that he finds, or like I know this sounds silly, but like a bird flying up against a window and boom, and then it just disappears. A lot of odds and noises and things like that are going to be manifesting, and he can definitely like remove this. This thing will follow him wherever he goes, and I feel like this is part of the reason that he's had this string of what people would kind of call bad luck. Spirit is saying for him to remain strong through all of this, because I feel like, also mentally, when you're dealing with something that's a lower entity, like a demonic type of being, this thing also tries to break you down psychologically and implant thoughts that are not his. So I feel like Post Malone may be going through that at some time, like experiencing blockages with his writing, his creativity, feeling also like he's disconnected at certain times, and maybe kind of reverting to a darker period where he's trying to numb some pain, but the pain is not really his. It's what's attached or around him, following him and feeding on his energy. I do feel like he will get rid of this, but what I'm seeing, like, there's going to be a bumpy road, because I feel like a part of him is open to the world of the spirituality and the paranormal, but also there is a certain level of skepticism that he may encounter, where even though, he may hear this reading, or someone on his team may hear it, and, he listens to what I have to say, or what another psychic would have to say, there may be a part of it that, he doesn't want to acknowledge it. And I think this comes back to the premise of what I've said in other readings about, people that have asked me on my Tea with Spirit show here on my YouTube channel, that a lot of people don't want to give credit, because they believe if you talk about the demonic or you talk about evil, that you are opening gateways and doorways. But the reality is that evil, true evil, demons, the devil, Satan, all of that, regardless of what you want to call it, Beelzebub, whatever you want to call it, these entities actually like people who don't want to acknowledge the truth of their existence, because it's easier for them to manifest themselves and attack people who are not spiritually strong and aware and awakened that the evil, true evil, does exist in the world. For them, they would like to keep it hush hush. They don't want people to know about it. The more awakened you are, and the more that you realize that, hey, it's, if angels exist, the possibility of something darker and malevolent is also existing, then you're taking away that power that they have of seclusion, or kind of like secrecy, of not wanting people to think that they're just a fairy tale. In the, in the meantime, they're wreaking havoc in your life. But I'm here to tell you that this is a spiritual warfare, and I don't want to start like sounding like a preacher or I'm preaching, but it is, this world is a spiritual warfare, and we do have darker entities, and people like Post Malone, who have a very beautiful soul and shine a bright white light, around them. They're going to be targets of these things, especially in, the kind of world that he is in, the entertainment industry. I've spoken about it before. So for him, it's going to be about him staying true to himself, and I feel like he could actually get rid of this attachment, but again, it would require him kind of meeting with someone that is that deals with this kind of stuff, and doing like a full kind of cleanse, detoxification, because I see like his mind in the future, like what Spirit is showing me and allowing me to see is that there's going to be a period where he wants to like walk away from the music industry completely and go and pursue some other goals, whether it's like opening businesses or managing other artists. But it's not like he's going to go away entirely from the music industry, but there's this part of him that's kind of like will get fed up or get tired when he feels like he's not progressing, and so he may get into acting. I see movies for him in the future, like acting, but I also see some dangerous things on the horizon, and this is not to scare any of his fans or people who support him, but I do see that he has some type of, if he's not careful, there could be an overdose. They're not saying that he would be on substances, but I'm just giving you just like the way that Spirit gives it to me, and cut and dry. If he's not careful, there could be a situation where he reaches an exit point from this world. Not necessarily that he's going to exit it, but there is like several exit points for everyone that we have, and he has one that is not, Spirit is saying that it's not too far if he doesn't change the trajectory, and that's the word I'm trying to use, and maybe try to get rid of this entity, because nothing good has come from whatever Zach has been doing, the collectibles, all the stuff. Even Zach has attested to the fact that he's, he knows that he is haunted, and he knows that the demon world hate him. They pursue him relentlessly. And so, like I said, with Post Malone, this is what I'm seeing. I feel like, he has the power to change it. And I see that a strong female that is much older, maybe not that much older, but she is more mature and wiser in her years. And there's something about her having like a cat, very pet friendly. She may have a dog as well. She's someone that cares about humanity, nature, very philanthropic. I can't even pronounce words right in this reading. Very much with philanthropy. She is that type of person. I feel like she is someone that will kind of help him. There is a strong female presence in his life that's going to help him with this, but there's a lot of abandonment. He's going to lose people. He's going to go into depression. He is going to possibly struggle with addictions if he's not already. And I'm not talking necessarily drug addictions. There's a lot of different types of addictions people have, whether it's smoking, it could be drinking, it could be, overeating. Eating is also an addiction, but he has these things going up. But what Spirit was very clear is that there is danger around substances. And so again, I just have to say it like it is. Not necessarily that, he does. Maybe he doesn't, but maybe there's someone that around him that he has to be careful of what is put into drinks, etc. So again, he just needs to hold on to that information. And basically, I also see like I see him wanting to like travel. I know that he travels a lot, but there is something about like doing an extensive tour or traveling. I feel like this may be a tour that he is going to be embarking on. But I also feel like a part of him is being told not to go forth with the tour. And I feel like for him, it would be good not to go on the tour, because I feel like nothing good would come of it. That's when I feel like there's more temptations and more darkness surrounding him. And basically, if he uses his own intuition and his own gut instinct and trusts that, when it comes to people around him, when it comes to things that are darker like the Dybbuk box and other things, if he can stay away from that type of energy, he will be absolutely fine. And like I said, when I do a reading for people, for celebrities or anyone in general, it's not so much like that it's set in stone, like everything I say is going to happen to a T. In some cases it does, in some cases it doesn't. The reason that Spirit brings this information forth, just like in my private readings, is to help those that receive the reading to understand a little bit more about their own future and their own immediate present, and using their own free will to make their own decisions to possibly avoid any of those things that were mentioned, you know. What is that saying? You know, forewarned is fair warned, or something like that. You know, that's kind of the thing of how Spirit operates. They give information, maybe it's more future oriented, but it is for the greater good of anyone that's receiving it. So that way they know, that person knows, you know, what to kind of expect, and kind of maybe do a detour and do a 180, because you are the master of your own fate. Ultimately, there are certain things that we cannot change in our life, like, you know, when we choose to be born, who we choose to be born to in this world, when we exit, you know, those things are predestined. But with the exiting points, you are kind of given a different opportunity. So even though that is pre-written, like when you will go, ultimately the soul can make a decision once it's here on earth and change those. And so for him, he has a great life around, you know, ahead of him, but I feel like he needs to be careful, because there's also a lot of jealousy, and there's a lot of other things that I'm not going to discuss, you know, here on the net due to privacy, for Post Malone. But there's a lot of other, you know, things that I see that are darker in nature, not that he's doing, but other people that have more sinister agendas around the industry, and people who are, you know, who are considered quote unquote colleagues, that are very jealous of him, and the extremes and that they will go to try to take him down, so that way that he won't have or reach the level of success that he can possibly reach. Because the sky's the limit with Post. Like, I feel like if he really was to deviate away from all of the negativity, all that lower things that I've talked about, lower vibrations, he could actually go on to be one of the greats, you know, in the future, and be someone that's like a pioneer. Not, you know, not that he isn't making movements and waves right now, but there's so much more he can accomplish. But things can change, like I said, in the, you know, the next moment, depending on his own actions, etc. So this is a reading from Spirit. I hope that you Post Malone fans enjoyed it. If you did, please smash the like button. If you have any other suggestions of people that you want me to do readings on, please comment in the comments section below. I hope you all had a happy Halloween. Blessings and love and light. Have an amazing day or night wherever you are in the world.